CEO, Daddy shocked when he found she gave birth to 5 kids after one night stand. Imagine this. A man who has everything, power, wealth, and influence, standing frozen in shock as he stares at a piece of paper that changes everything. It's not a business deal, gone wrong, or a scandalous leak. No, it's something far more personal, something so unexpected that even his carefully crafted empire can't shield him from the storm brewing on the horizon. This is the story of Alexander Drake, a self-made billionaire CEO known for his sharp mind and colder heart, and how one reckless night 10 years ago comes back to haunt him in ways he never imagined. Alexander wasn't always the polished figure you see today. He clawed his way up from humble beginnings, sacrificing relationships, sleep, and sometimes even sanity to build Drake Enterprises into a global powerhouse. But success came with a price. He became emotionally distant, almost untouchable. Women admired him, but few got close enough to truly know him. And then there was her, a woman whose name he barely remembers now. Someone who walked into his life during a rare moment of vulnerability. One wild, unplanned night led to consequences that neither of them could have foreseen. Or at least, that's what Alexander thought until recently. The story begins when Alexander receives an anonymous letter slipped under his office door late one evening. At first glance, it seems like just another nuisance, a prank or some attempt to extort money. But as he reads further, his world tilts off its axis. The letter claims that a woman he met once, a decade ago, has given birth to 5 children. 5 kids, all supposedly his. His jaw tightens, his hands tremble slightly, and for the first time in years, Alexander feels completely out of control. How could this be possible? Was it a lie, a scheme, or worse? Could it actually be true? Enter Mia Harper, the mysterious woman at the center of this whirlwind. Unlike Alexander, Mia isn't wealthy or famous. She's lived a quiet life in a small town, working 2 jobs to make ends meet while raising her brood of energetic, bright-eyed children. Her days are filled with laughter, chaos, and endless sacrifices. To her, these kids aren't just a responsibility. They're her whole world. When she realizes that their father might finally be ready to face the truth, she decides to reach out, not for money or revenge, but because she believes every child deserves to know where they come from. What she doesn't anticipate is the firestorm her actions will ignite. As Alexander grapples with the revelation, questions flood his mind. Who is this woman? Why did she keep this secret for so long? And most importantly, are these children really his? DNA tests are scheduled, lawyers are consulted, and soon enough, the media catches wind of the unfolding drama. Headlines scream about the CEO daddy and his alleged secret family, sparking debates across social platforms. Some people sympathize with Mia, praising her strength as a single mother. Others vilify her, accusing her of using her children as pawns in a game for fame or fortune. Meanwhile, Alexander finds himself torn between denial and curiosity. Could these children really carry his legacy? And if they do, what does that mean for his future? What makes this story compelling isn't just the shocking premise, it's the humanity behind it. Both Alexander and Mia are flawed individuals navigating uncharted waters. For Alexander, this situation forces him to confront parts of himself he's long ignored. The son who grew up without a father figure. The man who buried emotions beneath ambition. For Mia, it's about finding balance between protecting her children and giving them answers they deserve. Their paths cross again after a decade apart, bringing old wounds to the surface, alongside new possibilities. But here's the twist. As The DNA results loom closer. Secrets begin to unravel, not just about paternity, but about choices made, truths hidden, and lives intertwined in ways no one saw coming. A neighbor hints at seeing Alexander around town years ago. A faded photo shows a familiar face in the background of Mia's wedding album. And then there's the oldest child, Emma, who looks eerily like Alexander and possesses a knack for leadership that mirrors his own. Coincidence or proof of something deeper? Tension builds as both characters wrestle with their emotions. Alexander struggles to reconcile the image of himself as a solitary titan of industry with the idea of being a dad to 5 kids. Can he step up, or will fear of failure hold him back? On the other side, Mia faces judgment not only from society, but also from within. Did she do the right thing by keeping the children's existence a secret? Would revealing the truth earlier have changed anything? As the clock ticks down to the test results, their worlds collide in unexpected ways, forcing them to confront uncomfortable truths about love, responsibility, and identity. And just when you think you understand where this story is headed, another bombshell drops. Someone close to Alexander, a trusted confidant, reveals information that casts doubt on everything he thought he knew. Loyalty is tested, alliances shift, and the line between friend and foe blurs. Meanwhile, Mia discovers that her decision to contact Alexander may have put her family in danger. Threatening messages start appearing, warning her to stay silent. Is someone trying to protect Alexander's reputation, or is there something darker at play? This tale is more than just a dramatic saga. It's a reflection of real-life complexities. Parenthood isn't always planned, and relationships rarely follow a script. Yet amidst the chaos, there's hope. Hope that people can grow, forgive, and find common ground. Hope that even those who seem invincible on the outside are capable of change. As Alexander and Mia navigate this emotional roller coaster, viewers will find themselves rooting for redemption, connection, and perhaps even love. But before we dive deeper into their journey, let's pause for a moment. Because right now, the DNA results are in. But neither Alexander nor Mia knows what they say yet. Will the tests confirm the unthinkable, binding their destinies forever? Or will they expose a web of lies that leaves both parties reeling? The answer lies just beyond the next scene, waiting to reshape lives in ways no one anticipated. Stay tuned, because this is only the beginning of a story that will challenge everything you think you know about family, trust, and second chances. As the DNA results sit sealed in an envelope on Alexander's desk, the weight of the moment presses down on him like never before. He stares at it, his mind racing through 1,000 scenarios, each more overwhelming than the last. For years, he prided himself on being untouchable, a man who could solve any problem with logic and strategy. But this isn't something he can fix with a boardroom decision or a well-timed acquisition. This is personal, raw, unpredictable, and for the first time in his life, Alexander feels completely out of his depth. Meanwhile, Mia sits in her modest living room, surrounded by her children, trying to act normal while her heart pounds like a drum. She knows the results are coming soon, and no matter how much she tries to convince herself that everything will work out, doubt creeps in. What if Alexander rejects them? Worse yet, what if he uses his power to take her kids away from her? These thoughts haunt her late at night when the house is quiet, and all she can hear is the sound of her own breathing. Still, she holds on to hope that maybe, just maybe, this revelation could bring some kind of closure for her family. The tension between them grows as they both wrestle with their pasts. Alexander remembers fragments of that one fateful night 10 years ago, a charity gala where he'd been drinking too much, feeling suffocated by the pressure of running his company alone. That's when he met Mia, a waitress working the event, with a warm smile and eyes that seemed to see right through his polished exterior. They talked for hours, laughing about nothing and everything. It was reckless, impulsive, and over almost as quickly as it began. Or so he thought. Now, staring at the envelope, Alexander wonders if that fleeting connection had consequences far greater than either of them realized. For Mia, the memories are clearer, but tinged with regret. After that night, she found herself pregnant and terrified. She considered reaching out to Alexander, but news of his rising success made her hesitate. Would he even believe her? Would he care? Ultimately, she decided to raise the baby on her own, determined to give her child the best life possible, despite the challenges ahead. Then came another shock, twins, and 2 years later, another pregnancy. By the time Emma, the oldest, turned 8, Mia was raising 5 beautiful, spirited children, all of whom shared striking similarities with the man she hadn't seen since that night. While the central conflict revolves around paternity, subplots begin to emerge, adding layers of complexity to the story. One subplot involves Alexander's closest friend and business partner, Daniel, who has always admired his ability to stay detached from emotional entanglements. When Daniel learns about the letter and the potential fallout, he becomes fiercely protective of Alexander's reputation. "You don't owe her anything," he insists, during a tense conversation in Alexander's penthouse. "If these kids are yours, we'll handle it discreetly. No need to let this ruin your legacy." But deep down, Daniel's motives aren't entirely pure. His loyalty to Alexander masks his own fear of change, because if Alexander embraces fatherhood, their partnership might never be the same. Another subplot focuses on Mia's eldest daughter, Emma, whose sharp intuition makes her suspicious of the sudden attention surrounding her family. At school, whispers spread about her mom contacting a billionaire. Some classmates tease her, calling her a gold digger's kid, while others envy her supposed newfound fortune. Emma hates the spotlight, especially since she doesn't fully understand what's going on. All she knows is that her mum seems stressed, and strangers keep showing up at their door, asking questions. One evening, she confronts Mia, demanding answers. "Why does everyone suddenly care about us?" she asks, tears streaming down her face. Are we in trouble? As the story builds toward its climax, suspense reaches a fever pitch. The day of the DNA reveal arrives, and both Alexander and Mia agree to meet at a neutral location, a quiet park where neither feels trapped or judged. The atmosphere crackles with unspoken words as they sit across from each other, the envelope resting between them like a ticking time bomb. Neither speaks. The only sounds are the rustling leaves and distant laughter of children playing nearby. Finally, Alexander breaks the silence. "Before we open this," he says, his voice low and steady, "I need you to tell me why you waited so long to say something." Mia hesitates, choosing her words carefully. "I didn't want to disrupt your life," she admits. "You were building something incredible, and I didn't think you'd want this." Her gesture encompasses the chaos of raising 5 kids, the financial struggles, the sacrifices. But now they're older, and they deserve to know the truth. Even if it's messy, Alexander nods, though his expression remains unreadable. Slowly, deliberately, he picks up the envelope and opens it. The document inside contains the answers they've both been dreading and hoping for. But instead of immediately sharing the results, Alexander pauses, his gaze locked on the paper, his jaw tightens, and for a moment, Mia fears the worst. Then, without warning, he stands abruptly, stuffing the document into his pocket. "We'll talk later," he mutters, walking away before she can respond. The abruptness of his departure leaves Mia reeling. Did the results confirm his paternity? Or did they prove her wrong? Why won't he tell her outright? As she watches him disappear into the crowd, panic sets in. Without concrete answers, she's left grappling with uncertainty once again. Back home, the kids sense her distress and cling to her, seeking reassurance she doesn't know how to give. Unbeknownst to Mia, Alexander retreats to his office, pacing back and forth as he processes the information. The DNA test confirms beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is indeed the father of all 5 children. The realization hits him like a freight train, forcing him to confront the magnitude of his responsibility. He thinks about his own childhood, growing up without a father figure, and how that shaped him into the man he is today. Could he really do the same to his own kids? Yet the idea of stepping into their lives feels daunting, almost impossible. How does someone like him, a man who thrives on control, navigate the unpredictable world of parenthood? Just as Alexander begins to formulate a plan, complications arise. A tabloid journalist gets wind of the meeting at the park and publishes a sensationalized article, complete time-stamped photos of Alexander and Mia together. Overnight, the story goes viral, sparking debates worldwide. Public opinion swings wildly, with some praising Alexander for facing his responsibilities, and others accusing Mia of exploiting the situation. Amidst the chaos, anonymous threats escalate, targeting not just Mia, but also her children. Someone clearly wants to bury this scandal before it spirals further out of control. With danger closing in and emotions running high, Alexander realizes he can't handle this alone. Reaching out to Daniel proves fruitless, as his friend urges him to distance himself from the situation entirely. Desperate for guidance, Alexander turns to an unlikely source, his estranged sister, Claire, who abandoned their family years ago. After a bitter falling out, though their relationship is strained, Claire possesses a wisdom and empathy that Alexander sorely lacks. Reluctantly, she agrees to help, offering insights into the complexities of family dynamics and urging him to prioritize the well-being of the children above all else. As events unfold, the stakes grow higher. Mia receives a chilling message warning her to leave town, or else, terrified for her kids' safety, she considers fleeing, but doing so would mean giving up any chance of resolution. Meanwhile, Alexander devises a bold plan to protect his newfound family, leveraging his resources to ensure their security. But trust remains fragile, and every move he makes feels like walking a tightrope. One misstep could shatter everything, and then, just as tensions reach their breaking point, a shocking twist emerges. During a private investigation into the threats against Mia, evidence surfaces implicating someone within Alexander's inner circle. Someone close to him has been orchestrating the attacks, manipulating the narrative to protect their own interests. The revelation shakes Alexander to his core, forcing him to question everything and everyone he thought he knew. With the climax looming, viewers are left on edge, wondering how Alexander and Mia will navigate the storm, threatening to tear them apart. Will they find a way to unite for the sake of their children? Or will betrayal and mistrust drive them further away? Every decision they make carries weight. Every word spoken resonates deeply. As the pieces fall into place, one thing becomes clear. The journey ahead will test not only their strength, but also their capacity to forgive, love, and embrace the unexpected ties that bind them together. The revelation that someone within Alexander's Inner Circle orchestrated the threats, sends shockwaves through his world. His mind races as he pieces together clues, narrowing down the list of suspects. It doesn't take long for him to zero in on Daniel, his trusted friend and business partner. The betrayal cuts deep, deeper than any boardroom rivalry or corporate scandal ever could. Confronting Daniel in a heated exchange, Alexander demands answers. At first, Daniel denies involvement, but under mounting evidence and relentless questioning, he finally cracks. "You would have thrown everything away," Daniel shouts, his voice trembling with desperation. "For them? For people you don't even know?" It turns out Daniel had hired a private investigator to dig into Mia's background, hoping to find dirt to discredit her before she could tarnish Alexander's reputation. When nothing surfaced, panic set in, and Daniel resorted to intimidation tactics, believing he was protecting not just Alexander's empire, but their shared future. The confession leaves Alexander reeling. He realizes now how much his pursuit of success blinded him to the people around him, and how easily loyalty can be twisted into manipulation. With Daniel removed from the equation and legal action pending, Alexander shifts his focus back to Mia and the children. He knows he owes them an explanation, but more importantly, he needs to prove he's willing to step up. This time, he approaches Mia without hesitation, laying all his cards on the table. "I'm sorry," he begins, his voice steady yet filled with emotion, "for everything, for not being there when you needed me most, for letting fear dictate my actions. But I want to change that, if you'll let me." Mia listens carefully, her guard still up after everything they've been through. She wants to believe him, but trust isn't something that can be rebuilt overnight. To show he's serious, Alexander proposes a trial period where he spends time with the kids, slowly integrating himself into their lives. He starts small, attending school events, helping with homework, and even attempting to cook dinner, with disastrous but endearing results. Over time, the walls between them begin to crumble. Emma, initially skeptical, warms up to him after he helps her prepare for a science fair competition. The younger kids, charmed by his attempts to bond over cartoons and playground games, start calling him Dad without prompting. As Alexander grows closer to his children, he also begins to see Mia in a new light. Her strength, resilience, and unwavering love for her family inspire him to become a better version of himself. They talk late into the night about their fears, dreams, and regrets, finding solace in shared vulnerability. Slowly but surely, a fragile connection forms between them, one built on mutual respect and understanding rather than obligation or guilt. Meanwhile, the media frenzy surrounding their story begins to die down as Alexander issues a public statement acknowledging his role as a father and pledging support for his children. Rather than shying away from scrutiny, he uses his platform to advocate for responsible parenting and the importance of second chances. The response is overwhelmingly positive, with many praising his transparency and willingness to grow. Even critics who once doubted Mia's intentions soften their stance, recognizing the courage it took for her to come forward. Claire, Alexander's estranged sister, plays a pivotal role in bridging the gap between him and Mia, having experienced her own struggles with forgiveness and reconciliation. She encourages both of them to communicate openly and prioritize what truly matters: the well-being of the children. Through Claire's guidance, Alexander learns to navigate co-parenting dynamics while rebuilding his fractured relationship with his sister. Their renewed bond becomes a source of strength for everyone involved. The climax of the story unfolds during a family trip organized by Alexander, a weekend getaway to a lakeside cabin. For the first time, they're all together under one roof, sharing meals, laughter, and quiet moments of reflection. On the final evening, gathered around a crackling fire, Alexander takes a deep breath and addresses the group. "I know I have a lot to make up for," he says, his eyes meeting each of theirs. "But I promise you this. I'm here now and I'm not going anywhere. We're a team from this day forward." Tears stream down Mia's face as she watches the kids embrace their father, accepting him, not because they have to, but because they choose to. In that moment, she feels a weight lift off her shoulders, a sense of peace she hasn't known in years. It's not perfect, and challenges undoubtedly lie ahead. But for the first time, they face them together. In the aftermath, life settles into a rhythm of adjustments and growth. Alexander scales back his work commitments to spend more time with his family, realizing that true success isn't measured by wealth or power, but by the connections we nurture. Mia finds joy in watching her children thrive, knowing they now have the stability and support they deserve. Together, they create traditions, celebrate milestones, and build memories that will last a lifetime. As the story concludes, viewers are left with a powerful message. Family isn't defined by biology alone, but by love, effort, and commitment. Mistakes happen, secrets unravel, and lives intersect in ways we can't predict. But it's how we respond to those moments that defines us. Alexander's journey from a detached CEO to a devoted father serves as a reminder that redemption is always possible, no matter how far we stray from our path. And so, the tale of the CEO Daddy comes full circle, not with a fairy tale ending, but with a realistic portrayal of healing, hope, and the enduring power of human connection. As the screen fades to black, the sound of laughter echoes in the background, leaving audiences with a lingering sense of warmth and inspiration.